For the sake of not having to write you up for this, cadet, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're out of your room after hours. As I'm sure you're aware, that isn't allowed except for the senior scouts. However, your first expedition is tomorrow. Naturally, some anxiety is to be expected. In fact, a great deal of anxiety is to be expected. And in your case, well, I would expect you to have nothing but nightmares if you went to sleep. It isn't an insult, cadet. I'm not attempting to say that you seem more anxious than others. What I mean when I say this, cadet, is that you've suffered a great deal of trauma already. You've already suffered so much that I'm certain you're experiencing some PTSD as a result. Yes, I am referring to what happened in Trost. You saw your comrades die. You saw them suffer severe injuries. Hell, I'm certain you feared for your own life as well. Every second, every minute, every hour, you were wondering what would be your last moment, weren't you? Physical weakness for a soldier is unacceptable, cadet. However, emotional weakness, well, there are quite a few circumstances in which that can come in quite useful. For instance, when you choose to sacrifice your own safety to save another. Or perhaps when you get so caught up in your anger and your emotions that you tear every titan within your sight to shreds. Emotional weakness. It isn't exactly weakness here. It's a strength. However, I can understand that it still takes a toll on you. Seeing people die like that. Seeing them turned into nothing but ash. It gets to you. It gets to all of us. Sit. Did I mumble, cadet? I said sit. Let me get you a drink. Exactly what kind of captain do you think I am? I have no intention of getting you drunk or anything of the sort prior to an expedition. I was intending to fix you some tea, if that is quite all right. That's more like it. Now tell me, what exactly have you been thinking? I know the look, cadet, and I know the behavior. You made no attempt to deny the fact that anxiety has been keeping you awake tonight. You made no effort to appear braver than you actually feel. You've accepted the truth. So what exactly is the truth? What's on your mind exactly? The funerals. Really? What about them bothers you so much? I see. So you're bothered by the fact that some of your friends didn't have any family there. I can understand that. However, it's a cruel world we live in. Not everyone is lucky enough to still have enough relatives who would be willing to show up at their funeral. I'm sure you know that well enough. If I recall from your file, you lived in Shiganshina before this, right? You were there that day, weren't you? I know. Believe me, I am well aware of all that. Your parents survived, only to then be sent out in a supposed effort to reclaim Walmaria and its territory. I know. I know you know better. It's a sick thing to do, but necessary. You understand that at least, don't you? Good. It seems lonely to you. What does? The funerals. I see. So you think that somehow their spirits can sense that their family isn't there? You were their family, weren't you? You, Aaron, Mikasa, Armin, Jean, Connie, and that Sasha girl. You were all family, weren't you? Or at least close? From what I've heard, that big kid, Reiner, was it? He was like an older brother to everyone. That is true. It isn't exactly the same. But it's better than nothing, isn't it? You feel more like siblings in relation to everyone else. Is that supposed to be a bad thing? It just feels... How exactly? It feels like something's still missing. Am I to assume you're referring to a parent or a guardian? I see. Is that so? You were left with only your father after Shiganshina fell. He took care of you? No. No, I don't know what it's like to lose a father. I do know what it's like to lose a mother. I know what it's like to lose people you felt were your siblings. You loved them so much. You took care of them. But when it really came down to it, you couldn't protect them. I know how that feels. No. I don't know what it feels like to lose the only person who could protect you. I protected myself after my mother died. Did whatever I had to survive. That's the way the world works, unfortunately. It's the worst pain in the world, but you get used to it. Sadly. Why are you looking at me like that, Cadet? What, is your tea too bitter or something? What exactly do you need to confess, Cadet? I beg your pardon. You look up to me? Are you attempting to make a joke about my height? Then I would suggest you explain yourself at once, Cadet. I was willing to be lenient with you before, Cadet, but if you will repay my kindness with mockery, then... You mean to say you admire me? I see. I've heard several similar statements from other cadets your age. Usually they mean it in an odd way. How exactly do you mean it? You don't know if you should say. Then perhaps you shouldn't. It's just what, Cadet? I beg your pardon, Cadet? I remind you of your father. In what way exactly? I know the answer you want. However, when I fight like that, on a day like that, I do my damnedest to forget. So no, I don't particularly remember what happened after the gate was sealed. Why don't you tell me what it is you remember? I killed a Titan that was close to you. It was reaching for you, wasn't it? It almost grabbed you, and then... That I do remember. That I do. You feel safe with me. Suppose I can't blame you for that. When you see someone who is stronger than you, someone who can keep you safe, clearly. Of course you feel safe with them. Where exactly do you think you're going, Cadet? Unless it's to your room, I would like to remind you that it is still after hours. You are not permitted to wander the halls. Sit down. It looks like you're almost out of tea. How about I get you some more? Do I look upset, Cadet? You think I always look like that. You watch what you say. I may remind you of your father, but I assure you I will punish you far more severely than he ever would. Now have a seat. Give me your cup. Let's keep talking a while, shall we?